Hey guys, Rodney here. So one of my things that when I got first started in photography, I want to share with you real quick this crap. Hey guys, Rodney here. So when I got started in photography, I had no clue what lens I should get. When I initially started, I bought a kit lens on a Black Friday day. I had that normal 18 to 55 lens, and I thought I was it. I thought I was ready to go, ready to rock and roll. But I can't say I learned a lot from that kit lens. Even though it's zoom 18 to 55, I did a lot of landscape. I did a lot of wildlife, a lot of scenic shots. I didn't really photograph people when I got that. But I'm gonna tell you what was my first lens that I bought after that that really changed my photography. Stay tuned. All right, guys, I'm back. So Rodney here. So I'm gonna share with you the first lens I bought right after I got started with photography, a little over 10 years ago. And this lens really changed my life. It changed my photography. It changed the way I really learned ins and outs and aspects of the camera. So when you think about photography, a lot of people say, "Oh, how do I get that blurry background, which is called bokeh?" A lot of people say, "How you get that blurry background? How you get the image to fade out?" Well, a lot of that can be done right in the camera. A lot of that doesn't need to be post-processing. You don't need Photoshop. You don't need Lightroom. You can do that right in camera. So my very first lens I bought was a 50 millimeter what's called f1.8. Now 1.8 is the actual aperture of that lens. So the aperture of that lens, when you say 1.8, that means you can open the lens all the way up down to 1.8. It can get kind of confusing because you're actually opening the lens up when you go down to 1.8. Even though it's a lower number, you think it's getting smaller, but you're actually opening the lens up. So that circle, the aperture right inside the lens, when you go down to 1.8, it actually gets bigger. So it lets more light in. So the more light you let into the lens when you snap in the picture, when the shutter goes up and down, the more light you get in, the brighter the image. But at the same time, that 1.8 actually begins to blur the background out because the focal point is so small, it's so minute when it blurs out the background that way. So you can go down to 1.8. Focus on what I do is simply focus on the eyes when I'm using my focal points. And then you can start to get that smooth, creamy background that a lot of people love. So a 50 millimeter lens, guys, I'm gonna tell you, but before I tell you that, you gotta do me a favor. You gotta smash the like button on this video. So I'm trying to bring these videos to you. Smashing the like button helps out my YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. So I'm gonna be doing more and more videos like this just to give you some tips and tricks on this photography journey. Things that I learned along the way, trial and error, so you don't have to make those same mistakes I did. So the next thing, after the 50 millimeter lens, I went and got an 85 millimeter lens, which was a prime lens also. So when I say a prime lens, that means the lens doesn't zoom. It's a fixed focal lens, and it doesn't zoom back and forth. So if you want to get closer, you got to move closer. You want it to go back, you got to move back. And that's my style of photography. So I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of what I love about an 85 millimeter, another video coming soon. But back to the 50 millimeter. The 50 millimeter lens for most brands, most camera brands, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, Canon, most of them are typically around $200, $300 for the 1.8. Now you can get a 1.4, you can get a 1.2. It costs a little bit more, but typically the 1.8 is around the same cost, unless you get an aftermarket, like there's a Sigma Art 1.8 or 1.4, there's a Tamron. So there's different brands, different models. I personally shoot with a Nikon Z, and I have the 50 millimeter 1.8 S model, which is actually made and designed for the Z bodies, which are mirrorless cameras. And talking about sharp, oh my God, that lens is so sharp. It's so smooth, it's like butter. I absolutely love it. So one of the things I would recommend to you, grab a 50 millimeter. It's very inexpensive. Even if you're just getting started in photography and you're getting a brand new camera, you don't have to buy the kit lens. You can buy the camera body and go ahead and buy a 50 millimeter. You can save a little money in that process if you do it that way. So you don't have to just go get the kit lens And when I say kit lens normally comes with the camera body and normally comes with the standard 18 to 55 lens that gets you started. But with that lens, you can't step it down to 1.8 aperture. It usually has a range between 3.5 to 5 on the aperture, depends on where you're focusing between 18 to 55. So I would recommend getting the camera body and just adding on a 50 millimeter to get started. So you can learn a lot quicker about how aperture works, the 1.8, stepping it down, opening it up, so you can get some great quality images. If this helped you in any way, please let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to know next. I'll be glad to share with you. Once again, this is Rodney.